Happy New Year, and welcome to In Touch with Durham County. I'm Deborah Craig-Ray, General Manager of Strategic Planning and Innovation. Thanks to Zoom, here we are, socially distancing and bringing you important information. Today, it is our pleasure to have as our guest Commissioner Brenda Howerton, who is Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners. Chair Howerton leads Durham County's historic all-female Board of Commissioners. We will have a lively conversation with her in our first segment. In our second segment, we'll hear from someone who is our most visible county official, Public Health Director Rod Jenkins. Chair Howerton, thank you so much for joining us. We're delighted that you can take time out of your busy schedule today.
I am so honored and pleased to be with you today, Deborah, and happy holidays. This is absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. So first, if you wouldn't mind, please share with our viewers a little bit about your background as a commissioner. You were first elected in 2008, as I recall. What inspired you to seek the office of county commissioner?
Well, Deborah, my commitment to public service, I often in my surroundings, in being in the community, I would hear individuals lament about the lack of representation and not having a voice in the conversation and how things could be made better. And I just began to contemplate about what more I could do. What could I add to that conversation by being in those spaces to represent them?
Now, I know that youth are at the top of your priority list, always been there. In general, the safety and the well-being of our youth and helping them succeed, become well-educated. Is that correct?
Yes, Deborah, yes. I grew up with a father my father couldn't read, and he'd make a check mark. That's all he could do because he couldn't read or write. And seeing that, I was committed that I would receive a good education. And what I saw, that education afforded me the opportunity to be in spaces that I never would have been able to be in. Even after my children were born, I went back to school and to Shaw University and took 18 credit hours and worked a 40-hour job to be able to provide for my family and get a good education. And I've consistently continued to educate myself over the years and also make sure that my children continue to educate themselves, because education is so vital for our children. It gives them, it's the equalizer in our society.
Yes. Now, in 2017, you became the first Durham County Commissioner to lead the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. And your presidential focus was on youth, yes?
Yes. While serving as the president of the North Carolina Association of Counties, I had the distinctive opportunity to work with diverse groups from all across 100 counties. And my initiative was 100 counties helping all children thrive. And even still, as I reflect, I am so appreciative of other counties who were inspired, that embraced and worked collaboratively around practices and programs. And that initiative is still in place today. And that was in 2017, 18.
So what lessons did you learn when you were leading the commissioners in all 100 counties that are going to help you manage our Durham County Board?
Well, the North Carolina Association of Counties, and I call it the NCACC, those acronyms that we get used to, all 100 counties. And then I was selected as one of the persons from North Carolina to participate in a national leadership for women in government. And what I learned from that was that, working with individuals from different perspectives, different backgrounds, that there's always a lot that you can gain from other people. And that we all are working to make a difference for our communities, to deepen our values and listening to other people, because it's not all about us individually, it's about the people. And as elected officials, we have to negotiate. We have to be willing to listen to other people and come up with what works well. So working with a 50-member board, because my board was 50 county commissioners.
Wow.
50 county commissioners. So I learned a lot about how to negotiate and how to listen and come up with a solution that worked. And I think that prepared me to be the chair of this board.
Indeed, indeed. So talk a little bit about your goals for this board. I recall in your acceptance speech, you mentioned the need to focus on the safety and well-being of our community during the ongoing global pandemic and working to mitigate the impacts on our local economy.
Yes, Deborah. Right now, safety is so important for all of us. My heart breaks for families that are being hit with this virus right now, and that we have to do everything possible for around safety. There are a lot of things that we will get into as we come together as a board. And what I want the community to know is this is not an I, this is a we and the board. And when we sit down and look at what are the initiatives that we want to get done this year, it will be a we, not an I, because there's no I in board. It's all about we. So, and we must also make sure that we are fiscally stable. So there are a lot of things that I'll be coming up with a little bit later as we do the State of the County address, all those. But right now, I just want to make sure that I am including the board when we come up with, because I've got a lot of ideas, but it's not about me.
Yeah. So our board has shifted with the retirement of longtime Commissioner Ellen Reckhow, who served for a record of 32 years, and Commissioner James Hill. We have two new members, Commissioners Nemeshina Burns and Netta Alam. So that makes our board all female. What are your thoughts on leading the historic board?
It's really interesting that people laugh when they say all female board. But our board has shifted, and Commissioner Burns and Commissioner Alam, we're excited to have them. That makes the board all female, like you said. And this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to serve an all-female board collaboratively, for us to work together as a board and really come up with innovative ideas and continue to make Durham that wonderful place that people are consistently moving here for.
Absolutely. Now, our viewers may not be aware, but the UNC School of Government and the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners provide robust training for new commissioners and for board chairs. Will you and our new commissioners be attending those sessions, and how will you benefit?
Well, I just attended this past week. I've already gotten started. I attended the chair training, commissioner chair training. And, somebody's listening might think, well, if she's been on the board 12 years, what more is there to learn? Well, I believe there's always more to learn. And especially the changes that's happening right now in our society, there is things to learn. And we have to be willing to undertake those things that we need to learn to continue to have our counties be the best. in UNC School of Government is superb in presenting the classes that we need to be the best commissioners that we can be.
And I also can recall that you've participated in a lot of regional, state, and national leadership training programs. I think earlier this year, you completed the 12-week High Performance Leadership Academy that was offered by the National Association of Counties, NACO, and General Colin Powell. So why is it important to continuously participate in leadership training?
Well, you know, as soon as I started that 12-week high performance leadership training, the death of Floyd happened, and the entire world was in pain. And that was the hardest thing for me to continue in that training, because that wasn't where my heart was. But I continued. It was, you know, the people on the phones that we talked to, we were all in that same difficult space. But there was something inside that let me also know that being a commissioner and being a leader in the community, that there was something there for me to learn, to be able to know all that I can know about effective change, speaking effectively to different languages in business, and convey information. So those were some of the skills that were being taught. Understanding what it means to manage conflict, because conflict will happen. And, you know, it will happen. It happens in any organization, and to be able to manage that. So I knew that I needed to continue. I didn't know that I would end up being the chair of this board, but I knew that as a leader, I need to be prepared for all of those kinds of situations.
Yes, yes. So the coronavirus pandemic has provided many challenges and changed our lives in ways we could not even imagine a year ago. What are some of your goals to continue to keep us safe and to make sure that our residents receive the services that they need?
Well, Deborah, it's always important for us to hear from those that are most impacted, so we can learn from them, to hear their wisdom and not make assumptions about people. We need to ensure our partners are involved to help in our efforts. Not one entity can do everything alone. It takes all of us. And I believe when we operate as a village, where our neighbors and community, our humanity will survive, and we connect to one another. And even though right now we can't connect physically, because, you know, we are huggy human beings, and we can't do that right now, but we still have to be conscious about what's going on in every community for everyone.
Yes. So we're about out of time. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with our residents?
I know it moves too fast. There's so much to talk about, but Deborah, I thank you so much for this opportunity. And, you know, through having a great manager and an incredible staff, because I always have to acknowledge the staff, we are a high-performing county, even in the midst of this pandemic. I look forward to focusing on the health of our community as we drill down into our systems around systemic racism across the enterprise to continue achieving business results, our values and our beliefs, and continue to build Durham that everyone makes a decent living, and everyone is included in Durham County.
Awesome. Well, we just want to thank you, Chair Howison, so much for what you do for Durham County. We appreciate you joining us today, and we're going to look forward to having you back soon, just to continue to share the progress that you're making as the chair.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, you'll hear from our esteemed Public Health Director, Rod Jenkins. Don't move. We'll be right back, and we'll see you on the other side.
Stem is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to load their minds. Dare to explore. Dare to STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM.
Welcome back to More in Touch. We're pleased to welcome our Public Health Director, Rod Jenkins. It's great to have you with us today, and Happy New Year.
Thank you for having me, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you so much. I hope most of our viewers know that the COVID-19 vaccines arrived about mid-December, and I guess people are actually undergoing receiving the vaccine. Talk about the distribution of the vaccines right now.
Absolutely. Again, we are delighted to have hope for COVID relief truly here in Durham County. We're fortunate to get it. I remember it to the day, December 21st at 8:10 a.m.
Okay.
I actually went to the first floor and laid my eyes on it just so I could see it for myself. And it was certainly a sight to see. But we are fortunate to be able to follow some strict CDC, FDA guidelines and the state North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services guidelines. And of course, our first frontline workers were first in line to receive that vaccine. We certainly wanted to make sure that we took care of the people who were in direct contact with COVID care, those individuals who were caring for COVID patients, testing, swabbing, or had anything to do with cleaning. We certainly wanted to make sure that 1A was followed to the letter. That also included individuals who were in long-term care facilities. As you know, those were the people in Durham who bore the brunt of COVID's impact.
Yeah.
So long-term care facilities were able to be vaccinated. At present, right now, we're looking at individuals or gearing up for individuals who are in phase 1B. And that's a huge swath of Durham's population because it's individuals with 2 or more chronic conditions. It's everyone else who, all other healthcare workers who didn't fall into 1A. And we're also starting to look into our congregate living facilities to make sure that we're able to properly address their COVID needs as well.
Now, I know we've got, some time to go, but when we get through that round of vaccines, must we continue to practice mask wearing, hand washing, social distancing for some time to come?
Absolutely. It is going to be quite a while before the entire population is vaccinated. So until then, I know everybody was thinking that once we got the vaccine, you can put away those masks and face coverings and just go up to your peers and hug them and everything. But we still want you to practice those public health, tried and true mitigation efforts that have garnered our success, which is the 3 W's. We want you to continue to wash those hands vigorously. We want you to wear that face covering, and we want you to maintain your social distance. Hopefully it won't be too long. We're in 2021 and, thank goodness we're in 2021, but I will say, we still have to practice those things that got us through 2020.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, right now we know about Pfizer vaccine and Moderna vaccine. Are there others coming down the pike? Are there others under development?
Absolutely. 2021 promises to be much, much better, and it's starting off, on a good foot. We do know that we have a Johnson & Johnson product. We also have another product from Novavax, and we have quite a few others that are slated to be ready for FDA considerations toward spring, some a little bit sooner. We do know from the 2 weeks, which is miraculous, in December that the FDA process is a rather smooth one. It's necessitated by the need for vaccine to get into the arms or shoulders of our residents. And we're delighted to know that there's still some major players up on board. We're also delighted to know that some of them may actually require only one dose. And that's promising as well, because again, you get that first dose, as some of you know, you definitely got to either come back 21 days or 28 days to receive the second dose. And that second boost dose, as they call it, is so important for proper vaccination.
Yes. Now, Rod, it's been said that this is the greatest immunization distribution program in our country's history. Would you concur with that? Have we ever had to immunize most of our population on this type of scale?
Hands down, probably the greatest immunization lift that we've ever had to face. When you think about it, of course, everyone wants to reference, the Spanish flu a century in 1 year. Well, I'm sorry, 2 years ago. And when you think about it, the population that we have today is much larger than it was back then. So again, the ultimate challenge is to get every man, woman, and child vaccinated from COVID. And that is a huge feat. But nevertheless, public health is leading the way, and I'm more than sure that we will meet the challenge.
Yes. And you mentioned one of the groups I was going to ask about. We haven't heard a lot about something being available for our young people. So I imagine that work is coming to develop something that's safe for our youngest children.
Yes, ma'am. At present, we do have some clinical trials going on that involve teens and children, but we do know that teen children and pregnant women are definitely a focus of the current clinical trials. And make no mistake about it, we're going to make sure that when that message is out, we're going to communicate that effectively. But we certainly are hopeful that it will happen.
Great. So, we've been going through this process for a while now, and there's been some skepticism and hesitancy around taking the vaccine. There is concern, even more so, among communities of color who coincidentally have been hit hardest by the pandemic. How are we communicating with those communities?
Absolutely. You bring up a very good topic. And at every opportunity I get, I make sure that I acknowledge the past. And community of colors have been experimented on. We could go on and off about hours just to talk about the specific names. And it's important to acknowledge that. I will say at present, during the clinical trials, there was a tremendous effort to reach communities of color, to get them to at least participate. And there was some strong participation. I know of at least 2 or 3 people personally who are people of color who participated. Good. And, for the most part, we are acknowledging that sordid history, if you will. However, make no mistake about it. In the current vaccine that we have, as far as the clinical data, did show that whites were leading, then Hispanics were the second highest demographic, followed by African Americans and all others. So again, this is a little different in that it was sort of, a potpourri of individuals who stepped up to the plate to to participate in the clinical trials. We want to make sure that everybody knows, the data and the science behind it. So again, we encourage you all to go to my agency's webpage. We have a page dedicated for COVID vaccines. We want you to be armed with all the information that you need in an effort to make a personal decision. And we do say personal because, this is vaccine going into your body. So we want to make sure that you have the information you need to make that informed decision.
Now, another thing that we're hearing now is the need for COVID testing, and we've done a great job partnering throughout the county to make COVID tests available. Is that true?
Absolutely. We have made it a priority, and there was nothing that I would not do personally as a health director to ensure that Durham's residents had the testing ability to test and test more frequently. We're still fortunate to have our big box retailers, CVS and Walgreens, provide COVID testing. We still have our COVID testing surge partner, which is OptumServe, that are performing COVID testing in 7 to 9 locations throughout Durham. So testing continues to be a challenge. At the same time, we still have enough testing within Durham County to include Duke, to include private providers. On average, Deborah, we've been able to test since, I said, mid-November, upwards of 8,000 to 10,000 tests per week.
Mm-hmm.
So we certainly have that capability, and we will continue to test robustly.
We appreciate that. So here we are in the cold weather, and of course we can't forget it's the flu season. Is it too late to get a traditional flu shot?
Absolutely not. We continue to promote getting the flu vaccine at every turn, and flu season traditionally began toward November. And I'm proud to say that our residents stood tall and heeded the warning straight out the gate, if you will. Our flu vaccine data shows that we're way ahead of where we were a year ago. Mm-hmm. So again, we want to make sure that we continue to, promote flu vaccines. And then it's also important to remember that around January is normally when we see the peak of flu season. So we want to make sure that, again, if you have not, please make it a point to get your flu vaccines. You could go into any Walgreens, CVS. You can even go to Harris Teeter and get your flu shot.
Yeah, that's true. I got mine actually at Walgreens. So
There you go.
So we're about out of time, but is there one more thing that you want to leave with our community?
I would just like to thank the community at large for your response. I thank you all for the sacrifices that you made in 2020, which included wearing your mask when it wasn't as comfortable, which also included staying at home when we asked you to, especially when transmissions were high. We thank you for the many sacrifices that you also made in terms of those holidays that you didn't spend, and you spent in non-traditional ways, which is virtual Merry Christmases, and you certainly missed some graduations and weddings and everything, but it was all not in vain. It was all done so we could see a brighter day, to buy us time for the vaccine, which is here. And again, we salute you all, but just know that we're not out of the woods yet. We need to continue to practice the 3 W's, continue to do your research so you can make that informed decision about vaccines. Continue to be that public health champion that I've always asked you to be, and that's just promoting awareness about all that's going on with public health, particularly with COVID. And when it's all said and done, I just ask that you never forget public health. We were here, and I know we're forever intertwined with COVID, but public health has always been here, and we always will be.
Absolutely. So will you keep us updated with your weekly video messages?
I will do my best. I was the reluctant video messenger, if you will, but I will say that it's grown on me. It's given me the opportunity to connect with the Durham residents in a very unique and intimate way. And I certainly will hope to continue to do it. It's a little weird seeing myself on YouTube, but my son and my family, they love it. And it's definitely something that's probably here to stay.
Yeah, well, we thank you so much, and we thank your public health employees and your partners all for working so hard to keep us safe.
Oh, and thank you. And I would be remiss if I did not mention my phenomenal, incredible staff. Again, they have done a marvelous job, a Herculean job from start to finish, and they are in it for the long haul. So again, shout out to my staff. Again, I'm just fortunate to be the leader of a great group of people.
Well, that wraps up our show today. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on In Touch with Durham County. Cheers.